So basically, just like a forest, every time we look at the forest, the forest would look different in every single picture. And as much as it shows you, as many different dimensions, as many things that it shows you, that much it hides and that much it reveals every day differently. Each person, one person would love the trunk, somebody else would love the leaves, somebody else would love the flowers, somebody would love the creepers. At the same time, somebody may hate the worms over there. They may not like something, they may not like certain types of leaves. So there is a lot of space for different thought processes, different thinking. And even our ancient mantras, our ancient practices, our gods, each of them have that space for you to like them, for you to not like them, for you to accept them. And then you can change it based on your needs. Today I want the shade of the tree, tomorrow I want the flowers of the tree, tomorrow I don't want the tree at all. All of that is acceptable in this beautiful thought process that we have in our land. So that is a basis on which I am going to today look at one of the most popular mantras in the Hindu religion, that is the Gayatri mantra, which is one of the, it's a very ancient mantra. It's part of the Vedas, and it is told by Hindus of, and non-Hindus again. It is something that is very easily recognizable, and I am presenting my thought on that today. Mainly, the Gayatri mantra would be one of the first mantras that is taught to a child. It's like other mantras you may hear, it is optional. You have, each house has its own dinacharya mantras, you have prayers to different gods. But the Gayatri mantra is one which is actually part of the education system. So I'm going to be putting, saying a little bit about the education system which was prevalent till, say, even the 17th century, till about 17th century. This is the education system which most of Bharatavarsha, in all the homes in Bharatavarsha, they followed this. The first part of the education would start at home. So the education would be called Vidyarambha. That is when a baby started talking full sentences around 3 years old, 4 years old, when the baby child starts talking full sentences. I want this, I want that. At that time, normally on Vijayadashmi or any other, good day like Saraswati Puja or Vijayadashmi, you will call the elder of the house. It could be the father, grandfather, guru, any learned uncle, or would take the baby in the lap, and on a rice plate will write Om, or will write a few aksharas, the aksharas. So the learning, the language, the learning of the language, the learning of the alphabets, the basic writing would be the commencement of the learning at home. Almost everybody, be it a boy, girl, everybody in the house would learn to write from the age of 3 or 4 years old, and it would be through this. This is the beginning of the education. And from that 3-year-old, almost about 9 years, 11 years, their children would be learning, their learning process would be at home. So mainly the learnings would be the basics, which is say Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Asana. Those are the first part of the Ashtanga which is taught to them. Yama is basically observances. Yama would be, say, when is the Ekadasi happening in our house? How do we sit down and eat? And then how the different festivals are celebrated. This is what the child is explained about. The stories are taught to the child. Then your mother or ladies would have Dhuram, that is when they have their time of the month, or when they have muddy, that is when they are cooking, they would not touch anybody, those kinds of things. And then you have Niyama. How would you have a bath, basically? How often, when will you cut your hair? So normally you would cut your hair around Amavasya time. And then you had your, when would how would you have that oil pulling and washing of your mouth? How would you take care of yourself? And then, of course, pranayama and asanas. How will you sit down? Where will you sit down? How will you stand? How will you sit? All these are taught between the ages of 3 or 4, all the way up to when they are 9 or 11 years old. When they find that the baby is learnt all this, is when the next step of the education happens. The next step of the education is Upanayana. Upanayana is actually where the Gayatri Mantra is taught, among other things. And this is the time when the baby is ready to leave home and go into formal education. So in the formal education, the first mantra that is taught is the Gayatri Mantra. And then, of course, when the child is ready and they have learned whatever is the basic education that they need, when they are graduating, they go into Samavartana. Samavartana is the graduation ceremony. So these were the basic education system of Bharatavarsha all the way up to the 17th century or so. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Upanayanam in particular because it is when the Gayatri Mantra was taught to the child. That is why I was saying that years I am looking at the Gayatri Mantra from a 9-year-old or a 11-year-old's point when they are taught the Gayatri Mantra. So the Upanayanam ceremony is the beginning of education for the child. So what happens in the Upanayanam? Number one is the child till then is Babu, Chintu, Kutti, and different other baby names. So when they get the Upanayanam, the father will explain the Gotram, the Kulam, where does the child come from, what is the Veda they follow, are you Yajurvedi, are you Rigvedi, are you Samavedi? So they're taught which Veda the family follows, who is the Kuladaivam, who is their grandfather's name, what is their full name, and from then onwards, the child is not considered an extension of the parents. Every time he sees an elder in the house or an uncle or whoever, whenever he gets introduced, he will put his hands on his ears and he will say Abhivadaya. He will explain him. He will introduce himself as the person. What is his kulam, what is his gotram. So the child gets his identity at this age. So he is ready to go out and get educated. So the first step for it would be learning his identity. The second step is independence and empowerment. Like I said, till then, mama would be chasing the baby, Babu, come and eat. So, you chase the baby, put the baby on your lap, eat, give them food to eat, give them bath. All that is by the time when the child is ready. From that day onwards, your mother is not going to chase you and give you food. You will have to say Bhiksham Dehi to your mother, first to your mother, then all your aunts, your grandmothers, your all the ladies in the house will give the Bhiksha to the baby as a blessing. And because from then onwards, he is responsible for himself. He cannot be, he will not no longer be a responsibility to be fed and taken care of. He will have to learn to take care of himself. And then, of course, the third part is the Gayatri Mantra. It is called the Upadesha. So the father will explain, or the guru will teach the exact pronunciation of the Gayatri Mantra to the child. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about how the child at that age, at 9 years or 11 years, what is it that they are looking for, the basic part of the Gayatri Mantra. As the children grow up or as we become adults or the Gayatri Mantra has different meanings to you at every age, at every point of time. But we are looking at it, how it looks right in the beginning at the very basic form. The Gayatri Mantra is always normally told. We are going to see when. So it is normally told at Sandhi, at the time that there is a difference when there is dawn, or when it is dusk, or when it is Madhyana. Any one of these times is when you do the Vandana to the Savitar or the Surya Bhagwan, and to the sun, our energy giver. Preferably, most of my explanation today would be about the dawn practice or the dusk practice. The direction. The person who is saying the Gayatri Mantra, you face the sun when you say it. So it is always while facing the sun. It's either facing east or facing west. You look at the sun while you do the Gayatri Mantra. And how do you do it? The Gayatri Mantra was created by, or rather told by Vishwamitra, the sage Vishwamitra, and it was told in the Gayatri meter. So that is the name of the meter. The meter has 24 syllables, 8 verses, and so each of that, it's always told at the time. So the rhythm is the Gayatri meter, and it is told when there is a breath out. So when someone breathes out, that is when they will say the Gayatri mantra. It's always, and there are commas there and there are breaks. That is when you take a breath in the middle. So you start with Om, and so you say Om. And if I was a little child, this is how I would explain it to them. Om would be the beginning of the Gayatri mantra. Then Bhur, you look at the earth. You look at the earth below your feet. Bhuvaha, you look at the horizon and the environment around you. Swaha, you look at the sky on top, or at the clouds and the sky. Tat Savitur Varenyam, you pray to you give your adoration to the sun. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, you, along with the sun, you invite all the gods into your, to come and bless you, so that your day goes off very beautifully. So that is the basic explanation of a Gayatri mantra. I'm going to be going into a little more after this. Before we begin, you will first put your hand as a namaste and then lift the namaste above your head. So why do we do namaste? In our body, we have two different energies flowing. You have a downward flowing energy, which is called the Ida, which is a liquid energy. It flows downwards, it's cold, and it's the female cold energy that goes downwards. And you have the Pingala, which is the heat or the upward flowing movement. When you close your palms together, you complete that circuit. So you make the heat and the cold of your body get together. And then when you lift it above your head with your feet together, you get that center of gravity in your body. So you basically, all your energies come to the center, or the Manipura chakra. And so it helps you center your body. That is, from the top to the bottom, your body is nicely balanced and centered to get the energy of the sun. So you are facing the sun, you put your hands together, you lift your hands above your head and give yourself a good stretch. And then we say Om. So the way you say Om is always, like I said, you take a nice deep breath, and when you breathe out, you say Om. When you put your hands up above your head and you say Om, you will see that all the 33 vertebrae, right from the bottom of, when you say O, it hits the bottom of your neck, from your neck bone all the way up to your tailbone. All the 33 vertebrae will vibrate with that energy. That is the best part of the Om, and saying it early in the morning. What a beautiful way to wake up every morning. It's like a nice good stretch to your spine, a nice good stretch to your body, and all the main important spine, the spinal cord and the vertebrae are all getting into place through this vibration, through the vibration of Om. So this is how we begin the Gayatri mantra. The next word in the Gayatri mantra is Bhur. Like I said, the baby or the child who is doing it will look at the earth and smell the earth. When you say Bhur, Om Bhur, you look at the earth. And while they say it throughout the year, sometimes during summer, they will smell the earth. They will smell the dusty summer, the dust of the earth. You will smell the sand, the dry sun, the petrichor, or the wet earth, the water on the earth, that beautiful rain smell. During the winter time, you will smell dew on leaves which are there on the ground. Because of autumn, the leaves have fallen on the ground and the beautiful dew is set on it. So you will have that wet leaves smell. And then you have spring, when you will smell flowers, when you will smell new leaves. So Bhur, the child becomes aware when you look at the earth and you say Bhur throughout the year, at different times of the year. there is some new smell for you to enjoy and new look for you to notice. Bhuvaha, when you look at the horizon and you look at the environment around you, what do you see? Normally, when you wake up, like I said, early in the morning, the Gayatri Mantra is told it is at Brahma Muhurtam. Though we expect Brahma Muhurtam to be 4 o'clock, Brahma Muhurtam, according to me, would be closer to, I would say, about half an hour before the Suryodaya. You enjoy the Suryan, how the earth will start with, you have the darkness, you wake up, you see the daybreak slowly happening, the shades of the sky changes every minute. So from complete dark, within that half an hour, it will go from gray to orange to purple. So you find beautiful shades to see early in the morning when you do that half an hour before daybreak. When you say the Gayatri Mantra, you will enjoy that change in the light around you, along with the change of light. So that is why you do it during Sandhi. If you're doing it at dusk also, you will enjoy the change of light during the dusk time, from darkness to light and from light to darkness. Another is you will feel this fresh burst of energy. All the trees around you, they will change their breathing cycle. Until then, they are breathing out carbon dioxide. There will be a fresh burst of oxygen in the atmosphere. So there will be, when you take a deep breath in and breathe out at that time, you are enjoying that fresh burst of oxygen, increase of oxygen in the atmosphere around you. So when you have the early morning sun streaming at you through the leaves, this is what you would enjoy. The third one you'd enjoy is the entire atmosphere around you is waking up. The first ones to wake up are normally the birds. So during different times of the year, you will hear different birds. Sometimes you will hear the rooster, sometimes you will hear the crow, sometimes you will hear miners. And if it is at this time of the year, normally you will hear, if you are awake at early in the morning now, you will hear the beautiful, the little baby birds who are just been born, because this is the time when most of the nests are full of birds. If you wake up early in the morning, you'll hear all the hungry baby birds around. Bhuvaha, when you look at that, you'll also feel the breeze on you. The breeze around you would be the beautiful, you will realize that when even if there's no wind across the day, sometimes during summertime you won't have wind. Early morning or during dusk, there is always a little bit of breeze blowing. It's not like strong winds, but it's always a little bit of breeze blowing, and the breeze doesn't always blow the same way. Half the time you will find it on suppose you're facing the east, half the year you will feel the breeze on your back, and the other half of the year you will feel the breeze in the front of you. So like now, if you face the sun, you will feel the breeze blowing at you rather than behind you. And then same thing, once the post June, you will feel it behind you. So half the year you become aware of how the breeze is blowing around. Then you go to Swaha, the sky. When you look at the sky, you will see that the sky, sometimes like now also, you will see a beautiful gray shade with a lovely orange. This is how the sky looks right now at this time of the year. The sky is very clear and beautiful early in the morning, full of fog, of course. There is a lot of fog, but if the fog clears, you will see a cloudless sky which has a beautiful orange shade to it. If it is when you post February, you will start seeing the spring one, where there will be a few shades, purple shades in the sky, which will be the cumulus clouds. The cumulus clouds will be around you. Or you have the cumulonimbus. If you have a little bit of the summer rain coming in, you will have the cumulonimbus clouds, or you will have the stratus clouds, which will be this big, thick, cottony storm coming in kind of clouds. So you will have at different times of the year different kinds of clouds on the sky to see. So it's an interesting thing for a little child to wake up to, even for not just a child, anybody of any age. If you wake up to and you do it with this, you'll enjoy all these different shades to see around you. Tat Savitur Varenyam. I pray to the sun. So when I show my love to the sun, you realize that this is the only time of the day you get to see the sun. Early in the morning, you see the sun. Otherwise, late in the or during dusk, you see the sun. This is the only time you are able to see the beautiful shades of the sun, the beautiful color of the sun, because the rest of the day, you can't see our energy giver. Also, there are many things of good parts of looking at the sun early in the morning, because you get the most important vitamin D. It is liver cleansing. If you remember, you have little small children when they are babies and they have, a jaundice or something. We take them out in the sun and show them to the early morning sun. It kicks in that bilirubin. So obviously there is a lot of liver cleansing that happens just by looking at the sun early in the morning, enjoying that little bit of sunshine. It affects your liver in a very good way. You increase your eyesight. Now, along with the Gayatri mantra, there are in different parts of India, you also have a habit of putting the offering water to the sun. Could be into a river, or sometimes it's just on land. You take the water and you offer it to the sun. Now, the reason that happens is because the water splits the sun into it works as a prism, and so you will find all the 7 colors which will go into the 7 chakras, the 7 energy chakras, areas around your body. It will go, the corresponding colors will reflect on your body. Such a lovely way to wake up in the morning, where your body gets energized by all the colors that the sun offers. Diyo Yona Prachodaya. There is a child will understand the difference, because he needs to face the sun, east or west. So he will understand which is east, west, north or south when you look at when they face the sun in the morning. You'll also realize that you're not always standing at the exact same spot looking at the sun. When you look at the sun, you'll realize that sometimes you're facing northeast, and another around 5-6 months down the line you are facing southeast. So you move 2 to 3 degrees every single day just by looking and doing namaskar to the sun. You realize that your feet are moving by a few degrees every day, and throughout the year you are changing complete 180 degrees and back while you are doing the vandana in the morning. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Like I said, we are through the Gayatri, we are calling on all the different gods who are related with the sun. You're telling, along with the sun, we pray to all the gods to come and bless us so that the day would be beautiful. At each age, when you are an 8-year-old, you can just look at the basics and you can just look at the environment. But as you grow older, the same mantra with the same breathing, it brings in different kinds of energies into your body. You realize your material world, your physical world, your spiritual world. You realize the importance of the sun. You realize the different gods that you want to call upon at different times of your life. You want to call upon different gods, and then the way you say Om differs as you grow older. You say Om in different ways, and then also the Gayatri mantra is so important, and so it's such a popular mantra, and it is so beautiful that because it is told early in the morning, you could choose your Ishta Devata. Tomorrow I'm going through a lot of trouble, I want Vigna Harata, so I would say a Gayatri mantra to the Ganesha. The 8, just the same 24 syllables, the same beautiful meter, gives you those energies. So you can give it to your Ishta Devata. Like I said, like the Aranya, in the Hindu religion, you are allowed to kind of pray to any particular god as per your choice. Tomorrow, I want to feel love, I will say Krishna. When I want to pray to earth, I will say Bhagavati. When I want knowledge, I will say Saraswati. I want strength, I would say Hanumanji. Like for me, right now, because I'm menopausal, I would pray to Varuna Deva, because Swadishta, I want the water in my body. So I have the Varuna Deva Gayatri, Varuna Gayatri that I say along with the Gayatri mantra. So different times of your life, the Gayatri takes in different shapes and different meanings throughout your life. More than anything else, early in the morning, when you look at the changing leaves, when you look at the changing flowers, when you look at the changing insects at different times, certain times you'll see a slug, certain times you'll see nothing, you'll see different sounds that the cows and animals make during the daybreak. You'll see different butterflies at different times of the year. It will give you a beautiful way to know how your day will be like just by looking around you at early in the morning. At that time, you would no longer need to have an AccuWeather to tell you how your day is going to be like. Just by looking at everything around you, you will know. Just by saying the Gayatri Mantra for those 5 minutes, you realize how your day is going to be like and how blessed your day is going to be. With that thought, I say thank you so much.